Hello, and welcome to the Health is the Key podcast, where we explore the health and wellness issues that matter to 1199 SEIU healthcare workers. I'm your host, Elizabeth Moore. Well, it's that time of year again, the holidays. We all look forward to gathering with family and friends, but some of us may approach the long stretch of dinners and celebrations with a tiny bit of worry that they're going to derail our health journey. The good news is they don't have to. Today, we're joined by a special guest, Adrienne Cheatham, professional chef, runner-up on Bravo TV's Top Chef, and author of Sunday Best, nominated for the James Beard Award for Best Cookbook. Chef Cheatham is a self-described food nerd with a passion for meals that are both delicious and nutritious. So who better to help us enjoy the holidays without sacrificing our health goals? Welcome to Health is the Key, Chef Cheatham.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
So the subtitle of your cookbook, Sunday Best, is Cooking Up the Weekend Spirit Every Day.
Yes.
So it's about making the most of every meal, not just special occasions. So our question is, if you already amp it up during the week, what do you do for the holidays?
So bringing the weekend spirit to every day is just about coming from a place of celebration, celebrating the ingredients you're with, the people you're breaking bread with, having a conversation, and just enjoying life and the fact that we're here to be able to enjoy this beautiful meal. So it has just as much to do with setting your mindset as it does to setting your plate. So for the holidays, it's mainly just more. More food, bigger portions, celebrating having more people together, and really just celebrating and enjoying it even more because hopefully you're off of work during the holidays.
Right. So as a chef, you're probably working a lot of holidays. When you host, what makes it special for you? What are some memories that make the holidays really memorable for you?
The things that really make the holidays shine and stand out are the best holidays where I can spend more time with my guests and with my family than I'm spending in the kitchen. I love to cook, don't get me wrong. I've clearly made that my life's work, but I love to be present with the people that I'm with and not be chained to the kitchen cooking things that have to be hot and cooked fresh. I like to do a lot of my prep ahead of time. So I'll come home from work, prep a few things, and then the day of, I'm just finishing and warming up.
That's perfect. That's perfect for the holidays. And Sunday Best has its roots in Southern cooking, which isn't always known for low calorie or fat counts. So if you're going to take some of those recipes into the holidays, how do you tweak them? How do you bring it down a little bit but still maintain the specialness of them?
So there are a lot of things that I look for. If I'm cooking greens, for example, especially if I'm going like very traditional, like where you braise the greens for a long time, you first get your stock together with traditionally it's like a ham hock. I'll try to get a piece of smoked meat that isn't also cured. So something that doesn't have nitrates, or instead of using, a ham hock, I'll use like smoked turkey wings. That gives you incredible flavor without some of the added preservatives that cured meats have. So that's one swap that I like to use. It's dry, it's smoky, it can cook for hours, and then it gets super tender and unctuous and adds a little bit of good fat to the greens without making it heavy and greasy and adding too much fat. I also try to stay away from pre-blended spices. Some of them are great, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them contain high amounts of sugar and sodium. So if I want to make a blackened seasoning or Creole seasoning, I'll mix it myself. I'll use paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, dry thyme, dry oregano, kind of all those classic flavors that you get in it without the added sodium, and I can control the amount of salt that I'm adding to the food.
And that's great for the holidays because I think we focus too much on, we want to eliminate the fat, but it's important for people who have hypertension to keep the salt content down.
And salt is so important to food. It makes you taste everything. It opens up, your salivary glands, so your mouth waters a little bit. The flavors get into your palate a little bit better, and it makes everything taste more like itself. But too much is definitely a bad thing. So you want to control that.
It does take so little because I know a lot of prepared foods have way too much salt in
Yeah.
it. And you think, well, if they just cut it in half,
Right.
it would be fine.
And it's one of those things that once you start to kind of wean yourself off of processed foods that are high in sodium, you realize that you can taste things a little bit better and you don't need as much of it.
Right.
So it's usually like, a few days or a week to kind of just reset your palate of not using high sodium ingredients and seasoning and spicing yourself. And then by the end of that week, you're like, oh, I don't need that much. And my go-to trick also is a splash of acid. A lot of times on the palate, that acid gives you that sharpness, and sometimes people confuse it for saltiness, but it gives you that same feeling of opening up your palate, brightening everything up without the extra sodium. So a squeeze of lemon juice, a splash of pickle juice from a jar that you have in the fridge always does the trick.
That's great. And it lets the other flavors come through.
Exactly.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, when we approach the holidays, most of us are approaching classics like turkey, hams, and, everything tastes better with butter. So how do you bring those into a little more healthy realm?
Turkey's great. Don't get me wrong. It's a classic. If I'm doing turkey, I usually like to do braised turkey legs. Or, if I'm going very traditional, like my father is from the South, he's from Mississippi, I'll do braised turkey necks. The meat is very lean. It's incredibly tender. It's super delicious. And it's like a little more interactive. It's like, it's like snacking on it. You get all the little pieces in there. It's so good. But braised legs, you cook out a lot of the fat. The meat gets super tender. And you don't always need to do a whole bird because most people are not going to eat that much
you have
turkey.
So much left over for weeks. Yeah.
And I also love to do other cuts of meat, like pot roast or something that you can cook a day or two ahead and then slice it. And then you're just warming it up in the oven when your guests arrive.
Oh, that's a great tip.
As opposed to a turkey that you have to time it to be done. It's too much work for me.
And our healthcare workers have tight schedules. Some are shift workers, have multiple jobs and kids to take care of. So that's a really great tip to help the holidays a little less stressful.
That's why I love braised meats. They're so tender. And then when you cook them, they cook for a long time, like low and slow. So you can put it on when you get home from work, very low temperature overnight, pull it out of the oven and pop it in the fridge, and then let it sit all day. And the fat kind of solidifies and congeals at the top. So you can just break up the fat and lift it out. And then you're left with all of the good stuff and being able to remove the fat.
That's great. So it requires a little planning, but not a ton.
Exactly.
And makes the day a little less stressful. That's great. That's great. So you talked a little bit about spices. I think when we do tend to tweak recipes, spices are our go-to. Like, how can I change this and still make it tasty? So can you give us some of your favorites?
Well, if I'm in the mood for like a different flavor profile, instead of using my go-to, which is like paprika, garlic, onion powder, instead of that, maybe I'll swap in garam masala. That's a spice blend that usually has no sugar and very little, if any, salt. It's usually, I buy them from little shops that kind of blend them themselves. So I don't have to worry about the added preservatives and ingredients because a lot of shelf-stable ones have anti-caking agents and just all these other things that, sure, they serve the purpose for the spice blend, but are they serving the purpose for my body to stay healthy? So I'll buy garam masala, I'll buy curry powders, I'll buy things from small shops that are blending the spices themselves, and they're not adding those extra things. But it's so easy to customize based on your flavor profile. If I see, this set of ingredients in a recipe, I'm like, okay, well, I can swap these for what I want to taste that night.
I think people need permission to swap. I think I have to follow it word for word, but you can experiment a little bit.
100%. That's where the fun comes in, especially if you see dried spices. We usually all have a bunch of spices in our cabinets, so why not put these to the side and try a different set of them?
And if it doesn't turn out perfect, you're with family and friends.
Who cares?
They're gonna forgive you.
It's going to be delicious. It just might taste a little different.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I have, my kid loves the canned cranberry sauce that comes out with the lines in it. But when I went to make a healthier version of it, homemade cranberry sauce has so much sugar in it.
Yeah, it does.
So is there a healthy medium? And do you have any tricks for making the gelled cranberry that comes with lines in it?
I mean, you could use, there is a seaweed derivative in place of gelatin, because a lot of people don't eat pork, and gelatin is usually derived from pork, sometimes, beef. But if you're trying to keep pork free, then you can use agar-agar, which is used a lot in Japanese cooking, in Southeast Asian cooking as well. And it's derived from seaweed. So it's a natural compound that you dry out the seaweed, and then when you rehydrate it, it gives you that gelling. And it's very strong, so you only need a small sprinkle. So that'll give you that gel kind of texture. But the sugar in cranberries are just so tart, so it kind of needs a lot of sugar. The only way to really manage that is just don't eat a lot of it. And
that's perfect. That brings me to portion control.
Yeah.
Because there are some things that just shouldn't be tweaked.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
something, it's the holidays.
You can't mess with greatness all the time.
Yeah. So how can you, preparing mini things that, if the spread is out before you and these are foods you have once a year, you may pile on your plate. So what are some tricks for keeping the indulgences to a minimum?
So I'm a big snacker. I snack a lot. And one thing that I always snack on, I keep in my fridge, I love raw vegetables. I actually like them more now than I did a few years ago. So I'll keep radishes are very spicy, and I'll keep some things that they make your body feel like you've had this exciting, eating experience already. So before the food is set out, I've snacked on raw vegetables. I've snacked on, a couple leaves of romaine lettuce or a couple radishes, a couple carrot sticks, things that are high in fiber, so that when I'm in front of the not so healthy food, I don't need as much. And it kind of, I'm sated a little bit already. So when I'm scooping it onto my plate, it's more like, oh, I want to try this, not like I'm ravenously hungry and I need to pile on my plate. So green bean casserole, for example. I love classic green bean casserole. It's got like cream of mushroom soup, and it's got butter and heavy cream and flour, and it can be very heavy, but I don't need 2 big scoops of it. I just need a couple of forkfuls. So I try to just snack on something healthy before, so that way when I'm in front of the food, I'm getting smaller amounts of it than I would normally.
And you're also not wanting to take more because you've had these snacks.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about snacking, because that's a classic holiday tip, to snack throughout the day so that at the main meal you're not overindulging.
Yeah.
So thank you for answering that.
And it's really helpful too if you're going back. Think of it like just I can come back for seconds. I don't need to pile up now. I can get a little bit, and then that way you can also see what's the best items, and then when you go back for round 2, you can get a little bit more of that instead of having a ton of everything on your plate.
And there will be a round 2.
There's always, yeah.
So what are some affordable staples that our members can have on hand? The cost of everything has been skyrocketing lately. Prices start going up as we approach the holidays.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that they can have on hand that make a dinner special but still affordable?
So one thing that really makes a dinner special is fresher vegetables. So canned vegetables sometimes have higher sodium and preservatives. So they're not bad, but that's something that you only want to do once in a while. Frozen vegetables, actually, they get a bad rap, but I've worked with several companies and I've learned so much about frozen vegetables over the years. They are actually picked at their peak. Some vegetables that we see in the grocery store are picked months ahead, and they're kind of allowed to ripen in transit, or they're, surrounded with gases that help them get that level of ripeness or keep them fresh, as opposed to frozen vegetables, which are cut at their peak, steamed, and then frozen immediately. They go through a process called IQF, individually quick frozen, so they're locked in at their peak. Peak freshness, peak nutritional value, and peak level of cooked. So they take so little time to actually prepare. So I do like to keep, and organic frozen vegetables are less expensive than fresh organic vegetables. So if I want to buy a head of broccoli, yeah, it's great, but I do have to cut it. I have to peel it. I have to steam it. I have to wash it. There's a lot more steps as opposed to opening a bag of frozen organic broccoli that all that has been done. And I just have to either microwave it, let it thaw on the counter, or just saute it until it's done. And they make beautiful purees and soups, so I use frozen vegetables for so much, and you can stock up on them and keep them in your freezer until the holidays arrive.
Oh, that's perfect. And one of the things that I noticed that, we have green market and fruit stands, fruit and vegetable stands all throughout New York. When you buy those from the stand, they're good for a day or two.
Right.
But they're so affordable.
Yeah.
If you're going to cook that night with them, go for it, right?
That's a great point. The fruit stands are highly overlooked.
Our members are healthcare workers. They're not professional chefs. So they may say, oh, sure, that's easy for a professional chef to tweak a recipe from a book. What kind of advice do you give to novice cooks? Go for it. Don't be afraid.
The one thing that I would say is have faith in yourself. Trust yourself. You're a professional. You do a great job all day. You're going to do a great job with this too. Especially you're taking care of yourself. You're doing something that you're not taking care of other people. So put as much care into it as you do for other people, for yourself. But don't be afraid. You read the recipe, see what it says, and oh, okay, you know what? I've cooked something like that before, so I know what to expect. A lot of times people read the recipe in a vacuum. You don't think about it in context with everything else you've ever cooked and how similar it probably is. So you look at it and you're like, oh my God, I need to follow this exactly. It's like, no, cooking this pot roast is just like something else you've cooked before. Or roasting this chicken is just like roasting a chicken you've done before. It's not that different. So just read the recipe or look at the ingredients and think about what you've done or what you have that's similar that you can just feel more comfortable with. And then just own it, just do it. Because that's the only way you're going to learn. If you're playing scared, you're not gonna learn how to execute it and execute it well. So just go for it.
Right. You got to dive right in.
Yeah.
Well, you've given our members some great tips on making the holidays special, doing their Sunday best in the holidays. Is there any last takeaway you'd like to leave with our members to prepare for the holidays and don't worry so much about them?
I think the holidays are, just like almost every day, but the holidays are especially a time to celebrate yourself, celebrate your family, loved ones, take care of yourself, and don't overthink it. Be healthy by having smaller portions. If there's a recipe that you absolutely cannot change, it's a traditional family recipe, just don't eat as much of it. You don't want to hold yourself back. You still want to enjoy. You still want to have a good time. And if you splurge a little bit here one day during the holidays, then just eat a salad the next day.
Well, I think that's what you're not going to be eating these dinners every single night during the holidays. So have fun one night and then get back on track.
Yeah, exactly.
Give yourself some grace.
But enjoy it. Yeah. Just enjoy it and think about your overall health picture as opposed to just focusing on that one meal. There are so many little things that we can do to make small changes here and there that have a huge impact in our health journeys. It doesn't have to be an overnight switch and changing everything, all of your ingredients, your whole pantry, your whole fridge, just little changes along the way. A small step once a week or once a month, little changes add up to a big difference in your health journey.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And happy holidays.
Same to you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Tune in later this month to our keynote episode when Chef Cheatham offers a tasty alternative to the traditional holiday turkey or ham, Mississippi pot roast. The recipe is in her cookbook, Sunday Best. And for a chance to win a signed copy, share your favorite healthy holiday cooking tip on our Instagram and Facebook pages. But hurry, our book giveaway expires Sunday, November 9th. This podcast and its content are presented solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. The information and opinions provided on this podcast are not intended as legal or medical advice and do not constitute or serve as a substitute for professional medical or psychological treatment, diagnosis, therapy, or other types of professional intervention.